Hello, in this video we will be discussing a specific cyber attack that is called DDoS. Now, many of you might be entirely unaware that this type of attack even exists and might be wondering, what is it? What does DDoS really stand for? Why is it important and how does it work? Can it be prevented, and if so, how? Does this attack really happen that often in the real world? And if so, what are some examples? All of your questions are great and will be answered throughout this video, so please stay tuned. First, my friend Steph will discuss what DDoS really is.
What is a DDoS attack? DDoS stands for Distributed Denial of Service. This type of attack is used to render an online service unavailable by overloading it with traffic from multiple sources. During a DDoS attack, hackers will utilize multiple computers to send illegitimate requests to the server. The volume of these requests causes the server to stop responding, resulting in delays and outages. Next, we will discuss how these attacks work in more detail.
I'm Keegan. I'm going to be going over how DDoS attacks work. Okay, start in general. What a DDoS attack does is it sends many requests to the same website or server and just shuts it down by overwhelming it. Attackers start this by finding a port that they can use. This is because a port is what allows information to go in and out. It's pretty much a gateway for information on a server and website. Now, they find these ports by using what is known as a port scanner. And it's pretty much in the name, it's a scanner which finds ports. There are plenty of these online for free, so it's not hard for them to get their hands on these at all. The second thing they do is they get an attack tool. These DDoS attack tools are found in two ways. The first and less common one is to actually be programmed by the person themselves. Well, this isn't hard. It's a 20, 30 line program that can be made in, Notepad. And, I mean, that Notepad's pretty much on every computer out there. The other way is to just go online and find one. It's the easiest way and what most people do. It doesn't even require any programming experience. This is because these DDoS attack tools pretty much make the process a fill-in-the-blank process, and they ask you questions. The first being the web address, the second being the port. Like I said earlier, they find a port, send the information in. And the third being the IP address, which is fairly easy to find on the website, because you can just go to the website, find properties, and it can tell you the IP address. Okay, then after this, what happens is they will just initiate the attack by pressing start on their attack tool. Now, once the attack actually starts, is where things actually get a little more complicated, even though it's really not that complex. To start, most of the time, these hackers will use multiple computers, or they will actually have multiple people doing this. If it's one person, they normally have like 5 to 10 computers. It's a smaller attack, but it still does a lot of damage. The other thing is they have multiple people, which at different locations sending in information. But in general, it's just they need more computers, since one computer will slow down a website, and most of the time it won't actually crash it. Since DDoS attacks are all about the size and the amount of requests being put in. The next part of this is they will actually slow down their attacks and speed them up, and also change which port they're attacking at. They're simply stopping the program and finding another open port for the server, and just putting that into the form. This is because the automated defenses on a server pretty much find patterns in the attacks to stop them. They'll see requests are very similar and stop those requests faster. And speeding up, slowing down, and changing the port adds different variable to these requests, which the automated defenses cannot, well, defend against as well. It's harder for them to notice the pattern when stuff is constantly changing. After this, they pretty much just sit there and let stuff run. That is pretty much in general how a DDoS attack works. The attacker will just find an open port and use a tool to constantly send packets, information, or requests to the website until it goes down, and then while it's down, just so it will stay down. The most common targets for these types of attacks are, well, in general, the government websites and other popular websites. Okay, so next you'll hear from John. He'll be going over how to prevent these attacks.
Hello again. I am going to discuss a little bit about DDoS prevention. There are 5 different methods that can be utilized in order to provide your system with the best chance of preventing any incoming DDoS attacks. Now, to begin, some specific terms and general information is important for me to mention before I go over how to prevent DDoS attacks specifically. Now, with that said, at one time DDoS was one of the simplest attacks available to potential hackers, which also made it easy to manage and prevent. However, over time, these attacks have evolved and become far more intense, complex, and difficult to battle. These new methods can use something called a SYN attack, meaning that they will utilize a transmission control protocol connection, or a TCP connection. This connection basically guarantees delivery of data at the same exact order that it was received. So what they will do is simply begin a handshake, and they will intentionally never complete this handshake, which in return leaves a server flooded and then will make it crash. Another unique way that hackers perform a DDoS attack is by abusing something called a domain name server, or a DNS. So this is basically the internet's very own phone book. Now what they'll do is find a network that does not have a secure DNS, and this will allow anyone to request information, and they will abuse this fact. And what they will do is they will mask themselves by making a fake address, and then they will keep on requesting information over and over again with their armies of computers. And this will in turn flood their server and crash it. With that said, almost always when these attacks do prove to be a nuisance, or even successful to major companies, organizations, or just the general public, it is usually because proper security measures were not enforced, or that a weak spot went unknown and was only discovered after an attack actually occurred. But luckily there are a number of protective measures that you can provide to your system and servers that will help you prevent these attacks ahead of time. The first method that I will be providing you with is called bandwidth over subscription. This method is more realistic for major businesses and organizations due to the cost. Think the bigger you are as a business organization, the easier it is to acquire far more bandwidth than you actually need at a cost-efficient rate. So the reason why acquiring more bandwidth than you actually need works to prevent DDoS attacks is pretty simple. The more volume and capacity the target server has, the harder it is for an attacker to create enough traffic to fill this large volume of bandwidth, and in turn disrupt these targeted servers. So this is a very effective way for major companies to prevent DDoS attacks, and a lot of companies do use this. Now another method is called automated mitigation, and what this does is basically buying a program that is designed specifically to monitor any activity within your network. And what it'll do is, over time, it'll create a baseline average after monitoring daily traffic within a server for a month or two. And then what it'll do is, at any given time that the traffic reaches above normal levels, it will, like a flick of a switch, redirect or filter these unneeded requests and basically battle a DDoS and prevent it from taking over a server. These are pretty effective and they are pretty costly, but at the end of the day, it will get the job done. Another strategy that I have found to be pretty successful is using something called black holing, upstream black holing. And what this does is it will redirect any of the UDP data flow into what is called a black hole, or just a spot that performs massive deletion. And this can be pretty effective because sometimes certain companies just do not need UDP to perform the tasks at hand for their business or whatever they are doing. So what these UDP parts of the server really are just big security hazards. So with deleting the UDP traffic, it will prevent any doorways for hackers to, or DDoSers to, get into your server. The fourth method that I will be providing you guys with is simply system hardening. Now, this would appear to be the most obvious, and it is very important overall for any type of attack in general. Now, you might be surprised of how few people actually take this practice fairly seriously. System hardening consists of utilizing updated software and provides antivirus programs to your system, spyware, blockers, firewalls, and all of this prevents malicious software from running freely on your system. Furthermore, sometimes system hardening can also be as simple as eliminating any utilities or programs that are just unnecessary for your system, something that you don't use, it should be removed from your computer, because all of these programs or utilities can potentially be used as a backdoor for hackers to get into your system and then in turn DDoS it. It is a good idea to remove these. More advanced ways of hardening a system can be done by reformatting your hard disk and then in turn converting your CD drive is the main way of rebooting or booting up your computer. What this will do is make someone be required to have a specific CD or DVD in hand that is used to start a computer that is within your company. This basically assures that no one that does not or that should not have access can get on your computers. So what you'll do is you'll get your employees to always shut down the computers whenever you're done, and that basically ensures this. It's a really good method if you're concerned that you might have someone within your company that is hazardous to the health of your servers. The last method, and basically it is just a major backup plan in general, or your plan C, you could say. So this is mainly used for worst case scenarios. Some people will just refer this to as your top secret bandwidth generator. Just like some major companies, businesses, even just households have generators for electricity for those rare occasions that your electric goes out from a storm or other incidents. Works the same way, it's just a bandwidth generator. So this is a good option for any of those major companies that are just really in fear of that massive 300 gigabyte per second DDoS attack that would for sure wipe out a valuable server. A lot of companies do have a plan C or a third-party provider for bandwidth, and this basically just assures that no matter what, that server will stay up, and when in doubt, always have that plan C to make sure that your servers will remain healthy, and this will also provide a server a little bit of extra support whenever an issue does happen, and it'll allow you a lot more time to get this issue resolved. Lastly, I'd just like to say that if you do use even a combination of some of these methods to make your server more secure, it is a really good approach, and overall it'll make your servers more healthy, a lot more secure, and just your business a lot more stable as a whole. So it's definitely good to take into consideration one or more. I know that not all of these options are possible for everyone, but most of them um, can be made or proven to be effective. So thank you. And next up will be Wayne, who is going to be talking a little bit about real life examples that have happened throughout the world, um, dealing with DDoS attacks specifically. So please welcome him.
For DDoS examples, the first one that I can remember and have run across is the DDoS of the PlayStation Network. It's the first DDoS that I can think of that has grabbed the media's attention, and this was back in about 2012, 2013. Blizzard Squad decided it was going to DDoS the PlayStation Network and ended up keeping it down for at least a month, if not two. And the reason it grabbed the media's attention isn't because of how long it was DDoSed for, but it's because they grabbed the information from people's profiles and stuff while they were DDoSing and took their credit card information and stuff like that and was actually buying stuff with other people's credit card information. And they also ended up getting into Sony's movies and actually released a few of them to the public that weren't even out in theaters yet. And that's the main reason why it grabbed the media's attention. The second thing that grabbed the media's attention was still from Lizard Squad again, but this happened late last year around Christmas time. Lizard Squad decided it was going to DDoS Microsoft Now, more specifically the Xbox Live network, the Xbox Live, which is also online. It's another gaming network. And the reason Lizard Squad decided they were going to DDoS Xbox Live is because they wanted Microsoft to lower the subscription fee of Xbox Live. So instead of it being like $15 a month, it would be, I want to say like $8 or $9. I'm not exactly sure how low they want it to be. And Laser Squad went on Twitter, might have even went on Facebook. I'm not 100% sure on that. But I know for a fact on Twitter they sent a thing to Microsoft saying, "We will continue to DDoS your Xbox Live unless you lower the price of it." And Microsoft didn't believe them or just didn't care about them. And Lizard Squad continued to go ahead and DDoS Xbox Live. This started, I would say, the end of November, maybe beginning of December. Lizard Squad straight up told them that if you don't, on Christmas Day, you'll regret not doing what we asked. And about once, maybe twice, possibly even 3 times a week, Lizard Squad would go in and DDoS Xbox Live. And then once Christmas came around, as soon as it hit Christmas Day, Microsoft still didn't lower the price of the subscription fee. And Lizard Squad just had at it. They kept it down all day. Christmas, all day, New Year's Day. They pretty much just kept on DDoSing. And eventually they just got tired and figured that Microsoft wasn't going to do anything about it. So they stopped DDoSing them. And like I said, they went to Twitter and told everyone that Xbox Live was down and that they were the ones that did it. So eventually another group of people, they got tired of Lizard Squad keep DDoSing things that they used. So they went ahead and somehow tracked down where Lizard Squad was DDoSing from and ended up DDoSing Lizard Squad right back. And ever since then, there hasn't been a single thing about Lizard Squad anywhere that I've seen. Lizard Squad hasn't shown their face. The other group hasn't shown their face. I can't even remember what the other group's name is because I've only heard it like maybe once or twice. But the other group didn't release any information on Lizard Squad. Lizard Squad hasn't released any information on the other group. I don't know if they're still like battling it out or whatnot, but like I said, ever since this group took down Lizard Squad, I haven't heard anything about it. That's all the information I have for your examples on DDoS. Hope you enjoyed.
As you guys can see, DDoS is a major issue within the cyber world that affects all different types of people, businesses, and organizations. We believe that it is important for people to know that their systems can be modified with effective preventive measures that will help counter DDoS attacks. Most importantly, we hope that this video has helped spread some awareness of this issue in general and allowed you to acquire some well-rounded background on this topic. Hopefully, this video has answered any of your questions that you may have had, and if not, feel free to ask. We thank you for watching our video.